Feedback. Feedback.
Hi, this is Theo Broughton.
And I am Thabiti Mpinda.
Inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback,
A positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
And take us along with you.
Feedback. Feedback. Feedback.
And take us along with you. Always know that Hood Research is here. And we welcome you to take us along with you. Tell others about this program. And let them know that we're on from 9 a.m. to 10:30 each and every Monday. My name is Theo Broughton. I'm co-founder of Hood Research and my co-host.
Thabiti Mpinda, and we welcome you to the program.
Absolutely. And I want to say happy Monday to all of you out there who are tuned in. And I want to let Sister Fedora know that we appreciate her watching us each and every Monday. Happy Monday to Sister Charlene. Happy Monday to Katrina. I suppose she's back from her trip to this blizzard that we've been having around here. All right. And Carl, we're still looking for you to come and sit in with us. And we have two Calvins now. Our Calvin Scruggs, who was a frequent viewer, has passed on. And so we say good morning to his wife, Gwen. And I want to say good morning to Keith and to Ron and Mercedes and Jackie White. Oh, you want to say what?
Hotep to everyone. Shout outs to Sister Jackie and Ruth Ann, Sister Beatty, Sister Aisha, also Brother Griggs. And I always tell you all to have pen and paper handy as you see me put before the camera so that you can write down information. And our guest is going to be lecturing somewhere soon, so you'll definitely want to be able to write down the information and retain it because it's coming up this weekend.
Absolutely. And our guest this morning is Dennis Boatwright. He's been here with us before, and we are very happy that he's here now and looking forward to the program that's coming Saturday. Tell the viewers a bit about Dennis Boatwright.
Yes, thank you for having me on this show again, and it's always a pleasure. You introduced me as a guest, but they say that, anytime you visit a place 3 or more times, you're not a guest, you're somewhat of a resident. So I guess I'm a resident here, and it's a pleasure to be here. But my name is Dennis Boatwright. I'm the director at the Center for Pan-African Studies, a non-governmental organization that is geared towards creating economic and political empowerment between Africa and people of African descent in America.
Wow. You was telling us earlier about lectures and presentations that you give. Tell us about the type of lectures that you give.
Yes, I give lectures on a topic that's rarely discussed, and that is the rising consciousness on the continent of Africa is not touched upon as it should be. So I've been asked to, go to places in Washington, D.C., Tampa, Florida, as well as recently Eastern Michigan University. And I also will be speaking this Saturday at our great El Kibalan Village, which Brother Greg, who we call enduringly GMAC, has asked me to come speak there. So it's starting, it's a blessing, and it's very encouraging to see that a certain consciousness is being really rising right in front of our eyes, and I'm just happy to play my little role in that direction.
Right. Wouldn't that be Greg McKenzie?
Yes, Greg McKenzie.
I see.
I'm gonna call him G-Mac when I see him again. He's not gonna be ready for that. Catch him off guard.
Yeah.
One of the things I want to say about what you were saying, brother, and I agree totally about the rising consciousness. Everyone's heard something to a degree about the performance by Kendrick Lamar and Samuel L. Jackson at the Super Bowl, and he was talking about 48 acres and a mule and how they wanted to keep us in place, but a lot of the rap went over people's heads. But the reason why I bring it up, because when it was dissected later on, people said, oh, now I get it, because they were looking for that big frilly with the fireworks shooting off. They wanted all that craziness. And he said, nah. He said, y'all want a revolution? Y'all got the right, this is the right time for the wrong guy. And then he just went into it. Ooh. So I say that because Brother Boatwright was saying, and I agree, there is a rising consciousness even among the youth. So we need to nurture that. And I just mentioned Kendrick only because he's got a bigger platform, but he was able to get his point across. And as a side note, Samuel L. Jackson don't really care for the current president, so he was all too happy to play Uncle Sam in the whole skit that was put together.
Now, if someone wanted to see that, could they pull it up on YouTube?
Yeah, it's all over the place. It's like a flood.
Oh, boy.
Now, Brother Boatwright, what I want you to do is share with people the address and then maybe part of the content of your lecture this weekend.
You can look at it. I can't right offhand say it's off of Harper and Van Dyke, Al Keebalam Village. You can just look at it and Google it, and it give you exact address, and it'll be current on Saturday afternoon.
What's the time?
What is it? I think it's 2 to 5.
2 to 5. Okay. All right. So go ahead.
No, I was just going to tell people in terms of helping you for helping them for directions. If you're coming off of 94, it will be on Harper, just west of Van Dyke. You really can't miss it because once you turn on to Harper off of Van Dyke going west, so it don't matter if you're going north or south, as long as you turn in the west direction, it'll be like the first set of buildings there. Beautiful mural on the other side of the street too that says El Keebalam Village and has a lot of cultural images on it as well. I intend to shoot a video in front of it, as a matter of fact, because I like it that much. Sometimes you have to approach our people in a visual or entertainment way because, you know, that's just how we're conditioned in this country, you know, so you have to mix it up.
Right.
But for those of you, and I will be in attendance because I heard his brother speak before, in person as well as from college lectures, and we just need to be enlightened a lot more. This is near and dear to my heart.
You know, I'm glad to let people know that there's more enlightenment going on. I have a friend who has dual citizenship. I know I have other friends who have traveled to the continent of Africa in various countries, and my son has gone, and he's taken his son, and they've gone to a number of countries over there, and that's in very educational and enlightening, and you get past all of the dumb images that are put before us here in this country by those who want the perception of black people to be negative. And it's sad that too many of our own people look at those images and seem to think, oh, well, you know, they must be like that, as if they're not black. But my friend, Attorney Edison, he's been on this program with us before too. Jeffrey Edison and his wife have dual citizenship in Ghana and here. And there seems to be a lot of activity going on in Ghana from people here in this country too.
Oh, yes, there's a reawakening of the African consciousness that Dr. Amos Wilson, Dr. John Henry Clark speak of. But, you know, y'all brought up so many different things, and I just want to point out that just the Kendrick Lamar situation, how he decided to put a real message on the biggest stage in the world without apology. And just I'm looking at the kafaya scarf design that the brother have, and people haven't brought it up, but you notice on that nice car, that Grand National that he had on the stage, he allowed his supporters to fly a Sudan and the Gaza flag in support of those genocides that's going in those countries. So there's a lot of African consciousness that's going on that we're not aware of. And Mama Theo, just to piggyback on what you're saying about dual citizenship, actually a lot of people are curious about Africa because the propaganda is starting to get played out. People want to see for themselves. And in fact, March the 8th, I'm taking a delegation to 3 embassies, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, to discuss dual citizenship for people of African descent, African Americans. So I'm taking a delegation. Some will be coming from New York, some will be coming from Florida, and they're flying in, and we're going to go in those embassies, and they're going to give us the information that we need so that people who are interested in those countries, they can have dual citizenship, because we don't know what direction this country going, and you have to have a plan B. You have to be already set up, and people are starting to realize that, and they're starting to see, in addition to Ghana and Senegal, they're seeing other countries in Africa that are very welcoming to people of African descent. And this is what I'm going to be talking about in detail, why there's a concerted effort to make Africa unappealing to us.
You know, I just want to interject the business part of it, how they're actually taking raw materials and resources from Africa. This is what funds the world and corporate capitalism all over the world, and industries and economies, whether it's China, Europe, the United States. Most raw materials will come from places like either South America, but primarily I'd say the African continent, like with our cell phones. And there's so much to know. There's so much to not remember as well. But I believe it's called coltan, which is used for our cell phones, is mined somewhere in an African country. And I saw a video recently that this white professor, he was saying how melanin is used in cell phones now. Because in our bodies anyway, melanin is a superconductor. That's why our reflexes and our thinking and things are as agile as they are. Right. But they found that they can use, I believe they're using synthetic melanin now.
Thank you.
Yeah, I believe, because like someone said, Bill Gates is over in Africa now, and he's a tech guy, right? So we don't know when somebody comes up missing, because synthetic is not like the real thing. No matter what you get, synthetic butter, it doesn't matter. It's not like the real thing. So, they're using melanin now to help in semiconductors because of the high transmission rate of melanin. Again, that's what gives us, as far as I'm concerned anyway, our exceptional abilities, whether it's spiritual, mental, physical, and so many other dynamics that it covers. And it's coveted. Last thing I'm going to say on that, we're going to get back to the brothers, is that I think gold let's just say it's going for like $250, $300 a gram. Melanin is going for $500 a gram. That's how valuable it is. They'll pay that much money to get it. So let's watch our loved ones as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. You pointed out, see, black people in Africa is what time it is. And everybody has been trying to go to Africa except for African Americans. Right. We try, some of us going in the opposite direction, but everybody is gravitating towards Africa. And it's been like that for a while. Just to put this in perspective, in the early 1960s, in regards to Patrice Lumumba, how he was assassinated by CIA and other Belgium officials. Mao Zedong said something very interesting. He said that whoever controls Africa controls the world. So that just lets you know the importance of Africa. And there is an effort to keep us away from Africa. And I say this to say, in 1978, the National Security Council issued Memorandum 46, which mandated the FBI and the CIA to stir up mistrust and hostilities between African Americans and Africa so that they will not cooperate with each other. This memorandum, this is not, when you have memorandums coming from the National Security Council, these are mandates, and they are reviewed by the president throughout and all of his cabinet members, and ultimately the Secretary of State has to sign off on it. And they had agreed that it's going to be a problem for people of Africa. It's going to be a problem if African Americans and Africans to have a cordial relationship with each other. So this memorandum was put out in 1978. But I always like to tell people, informally, that has always been the United States policy towards Africa, to keep us divided, to keep us uncooperative with each other. And I say this to say, what was one of the first things that the slave master or the U.S. government made into law, banned? He said that the enslaved Africans couldn't play the drum because he knew that would remind them of Africa. Notice how even in the movie Roots, how they went to great lengths to break Kunta Kinte from his name, how they want to impress upon him the name Toby, because they know just the fact of having a positive opinion of Africa will inculcate pride and dignity in your person. That's why they would want to beat it out you. But there's a bigger reason why they want us not to be on good relations with Africa, and they kind of been somewhat successful with that. And the reason is that they want Africa for themselves. See, Africa is the richest continent in the world. Africa is so unique that it is the only continent that's self-reliant, that if Africa closed off all its borders, it was still functioning. It was still function successfully. Right. But if you cut Africa off, or you cut China off from Africa, they would be on a diet, because Africa is the breadbasket of China. If you cut Africa off from Europe, they'd be in big trouble. Just give you an example, just the country of Niger, a small country that we rarely hear of. If Niger decided to stop sending uranium to France, who use their uranium to fuel their nuclear power plant, which ultimately creates energy for them. If Niger cut off just the uranium, that one element, half of Western Europe will be in darkness. So Africa has enormous power. This is why that Memorandum 46 was put out, because they want Africa for themselves, and they know that Africa plays a big role in our development here over in over here in America, especially in diaspora, because when you look at politics, every region, every people has what you call an anchor nation, a hegemon, but in our language, we call a big homie. And we know that when the big homie is doing good, all the other people are going to be doing well. And just give you an example in international relations. When you look at China, mostly all of Asia was in darkness when China was not at its best. But as soon as China got its independence in 1949, notice how Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, and North Korea start doing swell, because China served as the anchor nation. I bring this stuff to say they know that Africa is where it's at. Right. You know, Africa 3-4 times bigger than China. Right. So they know when Africa is reawakening and starting to get back on its feet and start functioning healthily, they know that it is going to reverberate and eventually affect or reach people of African descent over here in America. So they don't want that to happen. They don't want us have that big homie on our side. So they're trying to go out of their ways to make us want to distance ourselves. And I might add just briefly to this, they've been successful because I've noticed, especially in the last 10 years and especially after the pandemic, I'm seeing increasingly people saying that they're Indian and they look darker than me, their nose is bigger than me, their lips is thicker than me. They're Indians all of a sudden. Or some now saying, well, you know, I wouldn't own no slave ships or anything. You know, I'm not Africa. And then not only that, as the brother brought out the melanin in our skin, how important it is. There's many thousands of studies just on the importance of melanin. But you have some people, instead of saying black or African, they say we melanated people. So what I'm saying is this goes back into the design of Memorandum 46 to make black people feel that it's unnecessary for them to identify with Africa. So you have increasingly people, even some of the young people, because they go on TikTok and YouTube and think those people scholars, and they buy off into that we're not Africans, we're Indians all of a sudden, and we this and we that. And that lets you know some of the success of Memorandum 46, because those type of people, they don't get harassed like me and you and Tabitha and Miss Theo. They don't get, they don't have to worry about going to jail or, being thrown off of Facebook. They love them because they're teaching people to distance themselves from Africa.
Oh, wow.
And I would add, we've got a couple of minutes to the break.
Uh-oh.
Okay. So I'm going to start on this, and I've been given the signal just to say that, not only the division that they're trying to sow between African Americans and the Africans on the continent, but even among themselves as well, keeping Chad, don't know what Mozambique is doing, and Nigeria and Ghana. And Kwame Nkrumah tried to do the same thing and trying to unite the African continent, and Gaddafi did the same thing. But we'll get to that on the other side of the break. So as Theo would say,
refresh your orange juice, your coffee, your milk, and call someone. Tell them to tune in to Feedback right here on WHPR TV now. And we'll be back momentarily.
I'm James Ford, founder of the Obama Weekend, and a partner of the Hood Research Team, composed of the knowledgeable Theo Broden, the super analyst Henry, and the colorful Al Martin. This team discusses politics, seen and not seen, at the national, state, and local level. But to enhance the goals of this team, join or donate to Hood Research by visiting Twitter or Facebook, or visit hoodresearch.org, or call 248-234-2371. You can also join Hood Research on Phonecast every Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time by calling 978-990-5000, access code 338729. Thank you very much.
It's the These Nuts Show with your host, Butter and friends. Butter here, magician escape artist, practicing for my show tonight. Come on in, have a seat.
Everybody settle. Butter, you're on in 5, 4, 3, 2.
In a few seconds, you gotta be enough to get out of this one. Twist, a little turn, ta-da! It's showtime. It's your old friend Butter here. I may be a nut, but I know to wear my mask. Please welcome my first guest tonight, fitness guru, Wally Wallman.
Wally Woodland here to tell you to wash your hands with soap and water for 20 seconds so you will stay healthy and strong like me.
Almond Cruz here, sliding in with the news. Distance is what we must do to stay away from the chew and other germs in the air that might be trying to get on you. Social distancing is a wonderful way to see friends. As long as you're 6 feet apart, you win.
Hey there, friends. I wouldn't miss this for the world. It's me, Pumpkin Spice, your healthy girl. Remember, it's important to use your kind hearts and follow the signs to stay healthy and safe at all times.
Chica Chiminsky here to say, don't forget the little ones that need you to lead the way. That's how we remember to wash our hands, mask, and social distance today.
Morgan Raisin. Yes, it's me, here to sing about health and safety. We are all here to help get a message out to your grapevine, teaching healthy choices to stay safe all the time.
Don't let these guys drive you nuts. Put your mask on first. They'll let you be. And it keeps me safe from the
chew
that's trying to get on me.
Butter me up. She's right, you know. Thank you, Hallie Cranberry, for joining the show. Let's all be nuts about our health. Social distancing, wash your hands frequently, use hand sanitizer, and wear a mask. Practice what we learned to stay away from the chew germ. We're all in this together. Coming soon, the many adventures of these nuts in a theater near you.
Feedback.
Hi, this is Theo Broughton,
And I am the BDM Pinga,
inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for feedback.
a positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you.
Feedback.
And take us along with you. Thank you so much with continuing to be tuned to feedback. We really appreciate your attendance, and we work diligently to have guests on that are as interesting as Dennis Boatwright, who is here with us this morning. And I was asking Dennis about the country that's in the western part of Africa and north of Ghana, which is
Burkina Faso, I believe.
Burkina Faso. Thank you. Burkina Faso, which seems to be coming into its own, may have something to do with an African in that country who has invented an electric car that recharges itself. I was very interested and surprised when I heard that, because others have been invented that will go 1,000 miles. And I guess perhaps many of you have heard that originally they would only go 300 and some miles, and that won't take you to Chicago, Illinois. So someone has come up with a vehicle that will go farther without having to be charged. And I think I heard recently that the new president of the United States has stopped the money that was being allocated for charging stations. But of course we know he does a lot of strange things. But this vehicle in Burkina Faso is very, very interesting. And it goes to show why the United States is already nosy and wants to stick its nose into every place that it can. And you were going to share with us some more information about that and other places, because Burkina Faso is also a country that provides the element that's used for cell phones, and that's in addition to the Congo.
Yeah, you bring up Burkina Faso, and that actually means the city of the righteous man. It used to be called Upper Volta, However, Thomas Sankara, he's changed the name of that to reflect the character of the people. And there are so many amazing things going in that region, particularly in Burkina Faso under the leadership of President Ibrahim Traoré. And you mentioned it's a car called the Itawa that is solely electric and also is self-charging to a certain extent that we didn't have that. And this is happening in a time frame of 18 months. And this goes to show you why there's been 18 assassination attempts on President Traoré's life, because he's doing so much positive stuff and he's projecting his image among young men that black men, you raise your head up high, you straighten your back up, and you do what's in the interest of your people. And that's the image that they're trying to destroy that. But also when you mentioned Coltan and the brother Thabiti, he brought it up. He already mentioned it, but when Coltan is very important, is just as important as cobalt. They are called the twin C's, and without that you wouldn't have cell phones, you wouldn't have that laptop, that power tool. Tesla wouldn't be able to make those rechargeable batteries just from the coltan. And you also had lithium, and just found out when I was talking to the ambassador of Burkina Faso, he pointed out that in the northern region of Burkina Faso, in the last months, they found out that Burkina Faso have the largest lithium reserves in the ground, in the world. Wow. So there's many things that's coming out there that's positive. And I always tell people this as a side note that, you know what, I'm happy to be a black person because I finally got something really to brag about on the world affairs. But you brought up, we're talking about Trump. We are in an inflection point, as I call it. We are at a moment in time where it is going to require big thinkers, creative thinkers, bold, courageous leadership to confront that. I say this to say that you have a president that said that pretty much essentially that he wants South Africa to pay reparations to the white people who lost their land from after their forefather have stolen it from the African people. So that's what he's saying. He's saying, you have to give them reparations, or if not, we're going to put sanction on your country. And then, Mama Theo, as you had pointed out during the break, you have the same president that's with a cavalier attitude, talking about he's going to displace, pretty much evict, run them out with guns, because they're not going to leave, freely, because who would want to leave their homeland? So
5,000 American soldiers, he said he wants to send over there.
He's going to send 5,000 American soldiers over there, and pretty much to evict or exterminate the Palestinians over there. And he wants to turn that to a European vacation resort. And the sad thing about it is not many people protesting of that significance of that and the absurdity of it as well. But also, it also points out the times that we are in, and he is not going to stop. But the point is, when you allow something like that to happen because it's so far away, eventually it will come home to get you as well. So I say that white supremacists, they are serious.
Right.
Dead serious.
We have a caller on the line. Happy Monday.
Good morning. This is Vera, to Theo and Nabibi and your guests.
Oh, thank you for calling in.
Yeah, regarding, I'd like to say this to Mr. Boatwright, regarding black consciousness, and this is really the month to start it or do it. I've always been concerned about our sororities and fraternities who represent themselves by Greek letters. So I think it would be a cleansing of the European thought processes if we drop those Greek symbols for African symbols. What do you think?
Well, I agree. I agree on my part in that images have always played a strong part throughout the millennia, really. Most of the things we see are images and symbols when we look at the Ankh and certain symbols of Kemet. Those are the things that stick in your mind. Even when you don't know what it means, like the swastika was an African symbol prior to Adolf Hitler adopting it for the Nazi Party. So a lot of these symbols are a lot more ancient, and I do believe on my own that images affect us. So if we start using cultural images that we identify with, just have them around the house. I mean, back in the day when I came up, it was always John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King, and I believe Robert F. Kennedy were, and along with Yeshua, Jesus to some, were on the wall. Those were the images that we had. And images, visual sometimes is even stronger than words themselves because they plant something on the subconscious.
Well, I'm just thinking that there's so many Adinkra symbols that have such great meanings that could be substituted for these Greek symbols. And Dr. Ben talked about it years ago, but that conversation did not go forward. Had it gone forward, we would have our young people going off to college today pledging to sororities and fraternities with Greek names. So I think it would really be a cultural cleansing of our people if we started that conversation.
Yeah, Theo usually says, and something I always like, I never thought about it till she brought it up, but she was speaking about, she told me this years ago about how like T-shirts are walking billboards. Like I might have one with Mary McCloy Bethune on it, Malcolm, Huey Newton, many of our other who have, made the sacrifices and been trailblazers, really. So I make it a point to do that in much of what I do, particularly when I'm in public, because sometimes that can speak for itself. And I would just hope that others would become more grounded in our African motherland roots. But we're on our way. That's for sure. We're on our way. They can't stop us. We ain't beating no drums, but we're making some noise just the same.
Okay. Well, thanks for taking my call this morning.
Oh, you're welcome. If you have another thought, feel free to call back.
Okay.
Well, she brought up a good person. I light up whenever I hear somebody mention Dr. Ben, Yosef Ben, Yakana, especially John Henry Clarke. In fact, here at the Center for Pan-African Study, we have decided to revive the original teachings of Dr. Ben and Dr. John Henry Clarke. In fact, I had, my kids yesterday, I got little kids despite my age, they 4 to 9 years old, and they have all their besties over there, and I seen them, and I said, you know what, this is a great time to, teach them about African history since this Black History Month, because they be asking me questions. They hear me, talking to some of my friends saying Hotep, Shemotep. So they was curious. So they was like, Mr. Dennis, we want to learn something about African history. And they asked, the typical names. I mean, these are great names, but the typical ones, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X and Frederick Douglass. I said, you know what? This time I said, do y'all know who Dr. John Henry Clarke is? They was like, who is that? And I got to, I'm going to share it with you. I actually, later on, I asked, they're 4 years old. Now they know who Dr. John Henry Clarke is. They know when he was born, where he was born. They know he was a master teacher. They know he was an expert in African history. They know when he passed away in 1998. And they were enthusiastic. And I said, you take that to your school. And I said, you're going to be the teacher then, because your teacher ain't going to know who Dr. Ben or Dr. Clarke is.
Oh, that is wonderful.
And you mentioned Dr. Amos Wilson. There's so many scholars, and we look at Dr. Clarke and Dr. Ben as among the elite, but you get Dr. Leonard Jeffries, you got Molefi Asante. It's just a lot of brothers and sisters out there. Francis Cress Welsing. We have a lot of scholars out there who have done incredible things, and I'm glad that this brother, the presence of mind is a very important thing. And for him to say to himself, okay, I got this small group here, let me enlighten them. I thought, I do that with my granddaughter all the time because I take her to school, so I have the advantage of dropping stuff on her. I have to say, she is so welcoming to the information. She's 16. She's so welcoming to the information. She has dashikis and other type of African wear, and she's looking forward to the Black History Month, right? She's looking forward to wearing it and giving different presentations, and she tends to speak on the lesser known people outside of, we know Rosa Parks. There's so many we know about because mainstream society always puts them in our face, which is what we have to watch about where we get our information from. It's all right to listen to, I would say, mainstream society, but you should also filter it as well. We just don't take it as gospel, because the last thing I want to say on this is, I don't know, I'm trying not to be discontent and maybe cynical, but a lot of times when I look at these commercials on TV, how, they get everything with the music and the background is sunny, they're on the water at the boat, they're at the park, how they are preying upon our minds, psychological warfare, in that those images keep just being presented to us over and over again. And people, I'm just saying this on my own, those people are getting paid to act just the same way Denzel or Tom Cruise or anyone else. They're actors. Their whole thing is to solicit certain emotions, certain behaviors, certain actions and reactions from you. Realize that they get a paycheck and then they go home. They just read a script and they were convincing. We can't let ourselves fall for the okie doke, the bamboozle, led astray, run amok that Malcolm X talked about. We have to decipher and filter what comes into our mind, because too much of anything ain't no good for you.
Oh yeah, and there is a quote, which I won't give you word for word, and it's credited to George Orwell, and it says, to destroy a people is to deprive them of their history. And a lot of that is being done. Currently, we're being told that Africa is not the first largest continent on this planet, but the second. All the time I was a child growing up in school and all that, I had been told that Africa is the largest continent on the planet. But now this new trick statement is because the northern part of Africa is being called the Middle East. They don't even give it a name. They give it a location. The Middle East is part of the northern section of the continent of Africa. And I thought, that's the craziest thing I ever heard. If you look at any of the older history books, geography books, I don't even think they make geography books anymore, but the fact was the continent of Africa was all of that, including the Middle East. Have you come across such a trick?
Yes, I can go on and on of the tricks they play to try to get us disinterested or to diminish the significance of Africa. And I could tell that Brother Thabiti, I'm not jumping on, I could tell that Brother Thabiti also is a big fan of Amos Wilson. In the falsification of African consciousness, Dr. Amos Wilson, he pointed out that you cannot oppress or subjugate a historically conscious people. Whenever a people's consciousness rise, there's a correlation in the success and the progress they make. So they're going to go out there, even they're going to play games with maps called this is the Middle East all of a sudden, and saying you had people, to say absurd things about Africa because they don't want to give us to that, because as Miles says, whoever controls Africa controls the world, not just in natural minerals, but even historically and educationally. Because I always tell black kids, when the kids come on my house, they actually have fun. We just don't talk about African history. They run around, listen to, they little kids. But I always realize that in our times, every moment has to be a teachable moment, because you don't know when you're going to get these kids over again. Because when they leave my house on a Sunday, I know that they going back to a school system that's going to miseducate them. And so I always try to encourage people. We talk about, yes, I would love to get government funding so that we can get African-centered school and Brother Ford's school as well. But in the interim, in the meantime, you got to get them grandkids on your lap and you would be surprised. They'll listen to you. They want to learn about Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. They would love to hear Dr. Amos Wilson. So we have to take advantage of that and make, like I said, I turned my kitchen into an African-centered classroom for an hour, and it reaped. There were so many benefits in that. So I say this to say, as you brought up, is that we're in trying times. Dr. John Henry Clark says you can't expect your enemies to teach you how to get him off your back. So these kids, when when you're talking about nation building, when you're talking about progress, you got to look 30 and 40 years down the line. And unfortunately for us, we're at a stage now whereas we really should be focused on our kids and our grandkids and great-grandkids and figure out what type of world we're going to leave them in. So you have to turn your living room, your kitchen, your dining room, your basement, your backyard, your cookout to an African-centered classroom because they're not playing everyday white supremacy is sticking his head out and can become a more aggressive. And here's the sad thing about what's going on. We're talking about there's actually what you call a rapprochement between the United States and Russia. They're throwing signals out. They have a big meeting that's coming up in a couple of weeks, and the United States asked Russia to join the G8, which is a group of 8 of the largest economies. So there's a rapprochement coming in, and the United States told Russia that we're not going to allow Ukraine to join NATO. These are big things.
Right.
And you know what this means. What is the ramification? I know Thabiti, he has a background in political science, so he's one of the few people that can elaborate on this. But what's happening is, I was in the Niger embassy. I was talking to one of it was a charge d'affaires, and he said that although we want peace in the world, but they said the Ukraine-Russia conflict kind of kept the United States off their back because it kept them occupied fighting Russia and Ukraine. Now that Russia and the U.S. are, entering what you call a rapprochement, or détente, what's happening is now United States and France, now that because all of their resources was used to fight Russia, and they didn't gain an inch. They didn't spend $300 billion without even getting an inch of Ukrainian land. So they reevaluating that. So however, in regards from an African perspective, once that war is over with, United States or Russia or whoever now can focus more their attention on Africa because they got the resources now. And I asked the people in Mali. I visit them. They just said, Dennis, we might as well get you a bed here. You up here in these embassies, But more than the officials because I care. But they said that I asked them, why did y'all decide to establish the Alliance of Sahel States, which is pretty much a security block from the neo-colonized not returning to Africa as well as to protect their natural resources. And they told me that, you had the superpowers. They were distracted and bogged down. So this was our time to make our move. So in a nutshell, it's our time to make our move. We got to educate our people. We can't let we got these leaders today who their best days was in the 60s and 70s. I hate to say that. Right. And they're still here. They keep people like me out the way, fresh, ideal, young energy because they want to be relevant. Right. And, so this is our time right now, and we got to take advantage of it.
I find one thing interesting when you were bringing up the conflict there, how I think some of the European nations now, they're at a point where they're going to decide the fate of Ukraine, and the president of Ukraine say, wait a minute, how come I'm not invited? And make me think the same thing is true over there in Gaza. They're making plans on Gaza, but they're not asking the people of Gaza, the Palestinians, how do they feel about what it is. Like, y'all don't even have a word in this. I'm just telling you, you got to go here and there. The same thing with Ukraine in terms of, because let's just say that the current president has the Kim Jong-un, Putin type of mindset. You know, his is about conquest. His is about self-indulgence, his own personal self-indulgence, as well as his so-called promoting the white nationalist thoughts, which obviously is working, and because we can see the ramifications of it now. Even some of the supporters have said that, oh, you know, the Hispanic community is crying, but he's an excellent salesman. He sold them some horse manure, and now they feel as though he's betrayed them because the eggs ain't going down no more, but he's interested in renaming parts of the world and claiming parts of the world. So as the brother said, we got to think way down the line. When I had a class with the late Senator Carl Levin, one thing that I learned in his class is that when they plan cities, the city planning department and such, what they do is they look 30 and 40, 50 years down the line. They look at trends, demographics, how things are shifting. And that's how the capitalists look as well. They're not just thinking about, we're thinking about, you know, man, I'm going to get my check this week. You know, we're not thinking about even 2026, but it's on the way just the same. So I'm just saying, as the brother said, we've got to instill these things little by little. You can't force feed anyone and expect them to absorb and digest it and really be able to utilize it because it's too much at one time. But we have to carefully, on a regular basis, feed certain things into their mentality because those things will take root after a while. And that's all we're looking for is to plant the seed that we can nurture, and then they will come up behind us doing the same thing. Because one thing for sure, we're not going back. You know, they make America great. We ain't going back nowhere.
Right.
Don't know where back is.
You mentioned how they didn't, you know, Zelensky saying that, hey, y'all having this negotiation without me being present, and the same with Palestine. But, you know, oppressors, they only think about themselves. They self-centered. And you look at the Berlin Conference where the fate of Africa decided and it was chopped up. Not one African country was invited to the Berlin Conference in 1884. They're not going to invite us, you know, therefore their own self. And, you know, about Donald Trump, he has feelings of grandeur. He actually, did some study. He thinks he's a Charlemagne. You know, he's this guy in his own mind. His importance, and it's just terrible. You know, you see how he talks. He talks. I mean, I wouldn't even want to really talk with him because he probably wouldn't be able to respond to anything that I have to say.
Well, you'd have to have a lower IQ just to deal with him.
Yeah, you have to have a lower IQ to deal with him, and then not only. Lastly, another thing what they're doing, and Eric Prince, who was the leader of the CEO of Blackwater, it's a security firm that United States had hired, he openly said a few months ago that we need to start recolonizing Africa again. This is what he said. And also Elon Musk openly said that he's putting Julius Malema, who was an outspoken advocate of South Africa, he said he's putting him on the terrorist list so that he can't travel. He's subject to being arrested. His finances are being seized. So they're not playing with us. That's why I say we need a new vision. We need a new vision. We got to let some of these young lions come up here who understand geopolitics, international relations, foreign policy, who have grand visions, who are somewhat grand strategists. We need to, especially in Detroit, we need to let them get on the stage. I know a lot of them, but people are not listening to them because we're used to just hearing from historians or psychologists, but we need statesmen. We need political scientists.
And Theo's gonna give us our segue to a break. Yeah, here we go.
Goodness. Well, as I encouraged you to do early on, refresh your orange juice, your coffee, your milk. Call somebody, tell them to tune in as well. And know that the numbers here are 868-4336 or 868-0351 to join us. And we are at the top of the hour pausing for the calls, and we will be back momentarily.
It's the These Nuts Show with your host, Butter and friends. Butter here, magician escape artist, practicing for my show tonight. Come on in, have a seat. few seconds. You gotta be a nut to get out of this one. Twist a little turn. Ta-da!
It's showtime. It's your old friend Butter here. I may be a nut, but I know to wear my mask. Please welcome my first guest tonight, fitness guru, Wally Wallman.
Wally Wallman here to tell you to wash your hands with soap and water for 20 seconds so you will stay healthy and strong like me.
Almond Cruz here, sliding in with the news. Distance is what we must do to stay away from the chew and other germs in the air that might be trying to get on you. Social distancing is a wonderful way to see friends. As long as you're 6 feet apart, you win.
Hey there, friends. I wouldn't miss this for the world. It's me, Pumpkin Spice, your healthy girl. Remember, it's important to use your kind hearts and follow the signs to stay healthy and safe at all times.
Chica Chiminsky here to say, don't forget the little ones that need you to lead the way. That's how we remember to wash our hands, mask, and social distance today.
Morgan Raisin. Yes, it's me, here to sing about health and safety. We are all here to help get a message out to your grapevine, teaching healthy choices to stay safe all the time.
Don't let these guys drive you nuts. Put your mask on first. They'll let you be. And it keeps me safe from the
chew
that's trying to get on me.
Butter me up. She's right, you know. Thank you, Hallie Cranberry, for joining the show. Let's all be nuts about our health. Social distancing, wash your hands frequently, use hand sanitizer, and wear a mask. Practice what we learned to stay away from the germs. We're all in this together. Coming soon, the many adventures of these nuts in a theater near you.
This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit Ombudsman. I am here to address all of your complaints and concerns. If you need assistance regarding city services, please contact my office at 313-224-6000 or contact us via email at ombudsman@detroitmi.gov. This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit Ombudsman.
WGPR Detroit HD2.
You're watching WHPS, Highland Park, Detroit.
Feedback.
Hi, this is Theo Broughton,
And I am the BDM Pinga,
inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for feedback.
a positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you.
Feedback.
And we are back. Thank you so much for staying tuned to Feedback. And we do have a caller on the line. Our guest this morning is Dennis Boatwright. Hello?
Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name and how you're viewing us, please? Hello, caller. You're on the air. Don't listen to the television. There's a delay.
That's it.
Hello, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, how are you this morning?
Very good, thanks.
Oh, fine. Thank you for calling.
Yes, I'm calling up. I'm concerned citizen of Wadsworth Community Block Club, but I'm concerned about these people over there in Southwest Detroit.
Okay.
I got off the phone with the council, Gabrielle Romero's councilwoman in that district.
The 6th district, okay.
The 6th district.
Yeah.
And they got the program over there, but it's not working. It's a CBGDR program, a CDBGDR, a private sewer repair program.
A private sewer?
A private sewer repair program. It's over there in that area.
Okay.
But let me tell you what they're trying to do to these people.
Okay.
They got them there. If they're a homeowner, they said it's available grants for homeowners, and forgivable loans to property owners, renting, and eligible tenants. So they're charging these people for something that they should not be paying for.
Oh, wow. How much are they charging them for?
This is what they're charging. They got, for one person, they're charging $53. Mm-hmm. And then for a person that's got 8, they're charging $101. But it's like in the thousands. They're giving them they have their income is limited. For a person that makes $53,000 a year, that's one person. For 2 people, it's $61,400. Then for 3 people, if it's in that house, a household size, it's $69,000. And for 4 people, it's $76,000. 5 is $82,000. And for 6 people, you got to be at $89,000. And then at 7, if you got 7 people, $95,000. And if it's 8 people in a household over there, they're charging $100 and something thousand. But it's a loan.
Well,
it's a loan. They putting a loan on these people, and those pipes are old enough since the 1800s.
What does?
And they're not repairing them the proper way.
Okay.
This
now
is
the
a
money
private company over there that's supposed to be doing this. They said Detroit Water and Sewage, but that's what Great Lakes Authority is. They're privately owned.
Mm.
And they're not fixing it properly because the old Southwestern school is over there and the old Beard school is over there. And that underground piping was never fixed properly.
Okay.
Because they closed the school and never did anything to the school's water system. So now it's affecting the people. That's the second time that don't happen over there. And I saw it this morning. This man was sitting up on his car. They had to rescue him. He was trapped. And his car was underwater.
What is the council person doing?
Good question. They didn't know anything about the program. Called them this morning. They said they got people over there, but is that program being implemented for the infrastructure? They said they got the money, but why wasn't it fixed? If you got money for this program.
This sounds like something.
Eligible households may receive the following services: clean and inspected private lateral sewer line, repair replacement, private lateral sewer, and install cleanout. Install the backflow water valve, the private lateral sewer. Install backflow water value and the sump pump with overflow. Disconnect downspout and install extension where possible to proper place of disposal.
Well, just on my own thought, and then we're going to go back to our guest, is that it seems as though the residents, number one, need to really impress upon not only their council person for District 6, but the entire city council itself. And I would think also that maybe approaching the ombudsman's office might be a possible solution or one of many remedies that can help, further this along, because the residents of that community shouldn't be penalized. But I think that it should be expanded beyond just the council person of that district, and all should be brought into it, including the mayor, water department, speak to the ombudsman. I think that's the approach should be taken, because whether we like it or not, every community feels that they have to take care of their own territory, territorial things. So
well, they got 4 districts on here, sir. They got District 4, District 6, which is that district, and District 7. So that's over in Paveway too, on the west side.
Now,
so they're targeting certain areas where they're trying to get this money.
Well, I would think, and then we got another caller, but I would think that they should, I don't know if they're, they may have neighborhood community organizations, block clubs, churches as well, to bring those people into the fold, because not only are they a part of the community, they represent it, but they represent the people in the community, and see if in that way, because they all have a vested interest in it, so that would be my suggestion, that you find the community groups within each one of those districts, people who have had, again, block clubs and such, and then have them act as the spokespeople for the people that they represent in those particular, even in congregations and churches. But appreciate you bringing it up. We could have another caller we got to get to. So,
and I also want to put this out there. They're supposed to be coming around to install a water reading upgrade meter. They're supposed to bring the upgrade of the water meters in them areas, because it has not been upgraded. Like I was saying, those are pipes been down in them grounds since 1800s. That's why they're having that problem.
Well, yeah, I would hope that somebody, again, would appeal to those who have a voice in the community, because there are people with voices. They could be business owners, etc. Appeal to the people in there, because with that unity, there's more likelihood than individual residents complaining on their own. But we've got to go to the next caller.
Well, thank you for taking my call.
Thank you for calling. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you give us your name and how you're viewing us, please? Hello, caller. Hold on one second. Hello, caller. Would you give us your name and how you're viewing us, please?
Good morning. This is Tawana Morris. I'm talking to you on my telephone, but I'm viewing you on the my computer. And it was a while before I was able to get it, but I'm in.
Thank you.
I would like to ask a question for African History Week. Trump has ordered the holiday, the Black History holiday, as not a holiday. Is he going to do it for, and I'm asking Mr. Boatwright because he seemed to be woke, that's good. Is he planning, to your knowledge, or at the BD or Theo, to your knowledge, is he planning on wiping out all the holidays? Because to wipe out our holiday, he should have wiped out everybody's holiday. And I am very seriously concerned about them having access to the Treasury inside of one day, firing all those people, and there's, Elon Musk say, well, I do make mistakes. You going to wipe out the whole history? And then I'd like to applaud you, Mr. Boatwright, about making us aware about minerals that's in Africa and only in Africa. I didn't know that what things are being based on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, caller, for your question. Tavita, you had something to say before I say? Well, thank you for that question, for you calling in. And I wouldn't put past anything that Donald Trump done. But, Donald Trump is just one person. He have millions of people who think like him, who voted him in office, who follow him, who are inspired by him. And in fact, the demolition of African history has been taking place in the last decade, whereas we see in Florida and New Jersey where they abolished the Black Studies department. So this has been an ongoing thing, and I wouldn't put it past him that he start pressuring African American professors to water down the teachings of African water down the teachings of African history so that they could be more compatible to white people. In fact, they said that, you can't teach African history in Florida if it makes white people feel uncomfortable. So they already been on this path of destruction, and it's always going to be like that. That's just how how world affairs act, and you have to be able to take care of your own people. You can't expect No, even though political party is never going to save us, and they never have done it, it's going to be people like yourself and myself that decide that we're going to take our destiny in our own hands and getting back to how important Africa is. Africa is very important. It's very important. They spill hundreds of millions of dollars on propagandas to make you not interested in Africa. Just to give you an example, in Congo, for example, they say that there are, and these are European economists, they say that there's $27 trillion worth of minerals in the Congo, in the ground still. Now, we look at $27 trillion, that's a lot, but actually it's 10 times that much once you refine those natural resources. So that $27 trillion go on to $270 trillion just in the Congo. So Africa, and just give you another thing, we just had Valentine's Day, and many of us bought our wives and kids and, loved ones, partners, or whoever, chocolate. And I like to remind people that that 68% of the world's cocoa is only found in 2 countries, and that is Ghana and its neighbor Cote d'Ivoire. We're talking about almost 70% of cocoa, and cocoa is the main. This is where you get chocolate from. So I say this to say chocolate is a $178 billion a year industry, and only Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire, they only control less than 1% of the chocolate industry. There's no such thing as Belgium chocolate or Switzerland chocolate. There's only 70%, nearly 70% of all chocolate come from only 2 countries, and that is Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire. So just giving you just in chocolate, that's how important Africa is, and we have to gain control of our natural resources like they're doing in the Alliance of Sahel states. We have Mali, Nigeria, Burkina Faso have done something that hasn't happened in over 2,678 years ago, back in the 25th dynasty, and that is throw out the colonizer, take control of your natural resources, and create a defense block to protect your gains. We haven't had that, but we're going in the right direction because you have these countries knowing that if we don't control our natural resources, we don't have anything. And just getting to the Congo, there's a lot of things that's going on with the M23 takeover of Goma, and they're trying to march to Kinshasa. I say this to say that if the Congo was allowed to grow organically without external threats and foreign invasions, they say that the Congo actually is the richest country in the world. So that just lets you know how important and strategic Africa is. But unfortunately, African and Americans are the only people, not the only people, but among people who are not gravitating towards Africa. Russia and China and the United States will kill over Africa because that's how important it is and vital to their own national securities.
Wow. It's sad to have to think that here in this country, images which do teach, and I might add music that teaches as well, has been used to turn our people away. And there are those who teach that we're the only group that send our children to school to be educated by white teachers. And then if we reject the white teachers, then others are saying, well, see there, they don't want to cooperate. And cooperating isn't the issue.
It can't be on their terms.
Yeah.
They would expect us to, they set the narrative and expect us as if it were a script or a play or something like that for us to read the lines that they've already written for us. And far too long, we've had this problem in television forever where you would have, outside of, let's say, the Cosby Show and a few other shows, you had Caucasian writers writing for black actors as if they knew anything about black culture at all. But what they were doing was shaping the narrative which other people have fallen into. That's why I say you have to give yourself a break. Honestly, we all have to give ourselves a break from what the back in the day they call it the boob tube. But give ourselves a break from that and bring books into the home. There are many African books. Go along the avenue of fashion. There's enough literature out there. You can go on YouTube. I'm looking at, as the brother said, John Henry Clark. I'm looking at John Henry Clark. I'm looking at Dr. Ben, Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, Francis Cress Welsing. We have so much literature out there. And I find it refreshing, I have to say myself. I love picking up a book, but I'm old school, so I guess before they had technology, that's all I had to turn to, and I've been dealing with it since. Hold on, Tawana. We got another caller on the line. Caller, you're on the air. Caller, you're on the air. Would you share your name and how you're viewing us, please? Hello, caller, you're on the air. All right, do we still have you, Tawana?
Yes.
Okay. Caller, you're on the air. Here's your opportunity to speak. Okay, now we're getting down to, I want to say, the last 7 or 8 minutes of the show. So one of the things I like to do before we get to the very end is have, we're going to have Theo and then Brother Boatwright speak. Theo will give you how you can become a part of Hood Research and all that good information. So I hope you got that pen and paper handy. And then Brother Boatwright will give you information on his lecture this Saturday, and it's worth your attending, believe me, and bring your family as well.
That's the 22nd, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Now, I want to say this before I tell you about Hood Research, and that is also this Saturday, the state Democratic Party election, and that's something that if you have not been involved in, you need to go and experience it to learn, one, how we as Black people in this country need to learn how things are laid out, how things are manipulated, and get involved, because all of this stuff is used against us. And as long as you are here, you need to learn how to operate within it. Now, Hood Research is an organization that's been around well over 30 years. And I like to say at the end of the program, it's not necessary for you to know everything. What is necessary is for you to know how to find what you need when you need it. We at Hood Research seek out as much as we can to share with you and invite the people on who can share their researched information with you. The contact number on email for Hood Research is contact@hoodresearch.org. Again, that's CONTACT, the @ symbol, the little A with the circle around it, then HOODRESEARCH.org, contact@hoodresearch.org. The telephone number for Hood Research is area code 248-234-2371. That's area code 248-234-2371. We have an email, we have Facebook, and we are no longer participating on X and Twitter and all of that. We're on WhatsApp. So know that Hood Research is on WhatsApp. Hood Research, WhatsApp, oh dear.
Continue.
It's on the Facebook. If you go to Hood Research Facebook, those directions are there for you and to be on with us. And I'm glad that Tawana was sharing that she had us on computer, was watching this morning. And if you use your phone and do Hood Research, WHPR TV now, you also can see us each Monday, 9 a.m. to 10:30. And lastly, every Saturday, we have a conference call. And the conference call each Saturday is between the hours of 3 p.m. and 6. So whatever amount of time fits into your schedule, join us on Saturdays. Now, the phone number for the conference call each Saturday between 3 and 6 is 1-978-990-5000. Again, that's 1-978-990-5000. The access code is 338-729. Then you press the pound key. Some people call it a hashtag. Some people say it's a tic-tac-toe sign. But again, that's 1-978-990-5000. Access 338-729 pound. Now, Dennis Boatwright, if you want to share with us so that people, while they have their pen and paper handy, can write down all of the necessary information to come and hear your lecture this coming Saturday.
Oh, yes, you can. It will be, the lecture I'm giving will be from 1 to 4 p.m. at Al-Kibalan Village, which is located at 7701 Harper Avenue in Detroit, Michigan, and that is just west of Van Dyke. And I hope to see many people there because we're trying to change the discourse because we're dealing with a new reality, a new challenge. So we need people who can handle what's going on in this world. And like Dr. John Henry Clark asked this question, he said, can African people save themselves? Can black people save themselves? Because it's what you were saying, how we have a tendency, we wanting people, even our oppressors, to teach our own children, to feel like anybody other than black that's teaching our children seems like we need them to validate us. And I always tell people, like I said at Eastern Michigan University, is that we have to get out this habit of needing people to hold our hands when we're on the battlefield. Our independence, our progress is going to come from us fighting our own battles. And there's nothing wrong with having allies here and there, but at the same time, we have to learn how to fight our own battles. But, one of the issues is that we've just been out of power for so long that we forgot how to manage power. Right. And it seems like soon as we get close to power, we start developing insecurities upon assuming power. So we have to get out of that. But at Al-Kibalan Village this Saturday from 1 to 4 p.m., I will be discussing the new African thinking and what it should be during this day and age, especially when we have people like Trump who have pretty much carte blanche to do anything that they want in this world with little or no pushback from other whites as well as people, people of color. So this is our time, and we have to take it serious. But it's not the first time that history has been in these cycles. It's just that we take big thinkers that are willing to confront these challenges instead of run away from them.
Mm-hmm. And people contact you?
Yes, people can contact me, my office, the Center for Pan-African Studies, at 313-431-3704. That is 313-431-3704. Also, for up-to-date, thought-provoking articles, you can go to the Center for Pan-African-Studies.org. That's Center for Pan-African-Studies.org. You can send me an email or a message at director@centerforpanafricanstudies.org. That is, again, director@centerforpanafricanstudies.org. And I hope to see many of you Saturday.
All right. Anthony Beatty?
And as I always say at the end of every program, first, I hope that you were enriched by our conversation. I certainly was. There's many things that I've learned. And when I say have pen and paper handy, you can see this whole notepad is full from almost top to bottom. Only got 2 lines left. So I always try to make it a point to keep something available so that it's easily accessible. And what I say at the end of every program is, if you want to be nothing, do nothing. But the only problem with doing nothing is you never know when you're finished. And I want to thank everyone who called into the show.
All right. And tune in again right here next Monday, 9 a.m. Peace.
Feedback. Feedback.
Hi, this is Theo Broughton,
And I am Thabiti Mpinda.
inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for feedback.
A positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV. Watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you.
Feedback. Feedback. Feedback.